Today, I am opening up about something I think every university student should hear. The 10 things I would absolutely do differently if I could go back to my university days. Whether you are in your first year, final year, or just thinking about going back to school, maybe some of these lessons will save you time, stress, and missed opportunities. So let's move in. Number 1, I would ask more questions in class. Looking back, I spent way too much time sitting quietly in class, nodding along even when I didn't fully understand what the lecturer was saying. I was afraid of sounding clueless or worse, like I hadn't done the reading. But here's what I know now. Asking questions is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of engagement. It shows that you are actively processing the material, not just passively taking notes, and professors appreciate it. More importantly, it helps you actually understand rather than pretend you are following. Also, asking good questions help you stand out, which matters if you are looking for recommendation letters, mentorships, or research opportunities later on. So if I could go back, I would raise my hand more, even if it felt scary. 2, I would get serious about managing my time. I'll be honest. Back then, I was winging it. I relied on memory, sticky notes, and last-minute sprints to prepare for exams and tests. I was stuck with my high school mindset, forgetting that high school and uni are worlds apart. Universities have countless exceptional students. I thought I worked best under pressure, but all that did was give me unnecessary anxiety and sleepless nights. If I had taken time management seriously, built real habits like using a planner, blocking out study time each week, or even just dedicating 30 minutes a day to review my lessons, I could have balanced my workload better and performed better academically. Time management is a skill for life, not just for school. If I had mastered it earlier, it would have made transitions to jobs, graduate school, and research so much easier. 3, I would build a reading habit outside of class. Back then, I only read what was assigned: textbooks, academic articles, and lecture slides. Nothing more. What I didn't realize was how much reading beyond the syllabus broadens your thinking. Even casual reading, blogs, essays, books outside your field sharpens your mind, improves your vocabulary, and gives you richer ideas to bring into class discussions and assignments. So when you read widely, you can make cross-disciplinary connections, which is exactly the kind of things professors, researchers, and employers love. If I could go back, I'd make it a goal to read just one article or book chapter per week on something unrelated to my course. It would have made me more sharper, more rounded thinker. 4, I would collaborate more with classmates. In universities, I treated everything like a solo race. I was a lone ranger. That mindset came from high school, where it was all about individual performance. So I would go from class straight to my hostel, barely talking to anyone, working alone for hours. Now I know that collaboration is everything. Study groups, joint projects, peer reviews. These aren't just box-ticking exercises. They build skills in teamwork, communication, and problem-solving that are crucial in the real world. Besides, other students see things you don't. You get fresh perspectives, and you don't feel so alone in the struggle. If I could rewind, I would actively seek out study partners, project collaborators, and peer mentors instead of isolating myself. The 5th thing I would do is I would apply for more scholarships and grants as soon as I can. Back then, I assumed I wouldn't qualify, or I did think I don't need the money, so why bother? But that was very short-sighted. There's so much funding out there for students. You just have to ask and apply. I also have to admit, the few times I did apply, I didn't put in full effort. My applications were rushed and half-hearted. So of course, I didn't get the awards. Now I know that applying for scholarships does more than just win you money. It teaches you how to articulate your goals, present your achievements, and look for opportunities. These are transferable skills that pay off long after graduation, especially when you are applying for international scholarships, graduate school, fellowships, or jobs. If I could go back, I would be much more intentional about seeking and applying for every award and scholarship available. 6, I would socialize more. I'm going to be real here. In university, I was a lone ranger. I went from class straight to my hostel. I barely socialized, I barely engaged, I barely had friends. And because of that, I missed out on life-defining events and career opportunities. When you don't build a social network, you don't have people sharing internships, conferences, workshops, or jobs opening with you. You don't get word of mouth tips or insider advice. I now see that relationships are just as important as grades. If I could go back, I would intentionally make friends, attend social events, connect with people from different backgrounds and courses, because networking isn't just for job fairs. It's an everyday habit that quietly builds into your future. 7, I would join associations and groups and be active when it comes to it. So I always stayed away from campus groups and associations. If I could do it over, I would join student associations, academic clubs, cultural groups, and aim for leadership roles. Even though school leadership and workplace leadership aren't exactly the same, student leadership gives you invaluable experience in communication, decision making, and project management. It also boosts your resume and shows initiative, which employers and scholarship committees love so much. I now realize that being in leadership teaches you things you can't learn in class, like dealing with difficult people, organizing events, and managing conflicts. I should have leaned into it more. The 8th thing I would have done is I would seriously go after awards, no matter how small. Back in school, I used to undermine awards. I did think, this is just a small campus award, who cares? So I ignored many of them. What I didn't realize is that even small awards matter, especially when applying for scholarship, graduate school, or international opportunities. Awards show recognition, initiative, and excellence. Even if it's something as simple as best presenter, best dresser, or the bookworm of the department, collecting these little wins builds your academic profile and helps you stand out on applications. If I could go back, I would enter competitions more, write essays, nominate myself for prizes, and not downplay any single achievements, no matter how minor it feels at the time. 9, I would actually document my journey. One of the biggest things I overlooked in university was documenting my own journey, my projects, my experiences, small wins, even my struggles. I always thought, who cares? I don't need to show it to anyone. I'll remember it anyway. Spoiler, you won't. If I could go back, I would keep a portfolio, journal, or even a simple blog where I regularly record what I was working on, what I learned from each course, the project I have completed, and the milestones I hit. Here's why it matters. It helps you track your growth. You see how far you've come, the skills you've learned, your mindset have shifted. It makes applications for you easier. Whether for scholarships, jobs, or graduate school, you will have an already made content to pull from. And then it builds your personal brand, especially if you share publicly on social media like LinkedIn, Facebook. You show initiative and attract opportunities even before you graduate. It boosts your confidence. When imposter syndrome hits, looking back at your documented progress reminds you of what you've achieved and who you are. I wish I had done this from day one, or even just one entry per month would have made a massive difference. If you are in school now, please start documenting. Your future self will thank you. And the last but not the least is, I would not limit myself to one career track. If I'm being fully honest, one of my biggest limitations I put on myself in university was having a funnel mindset. From day one, I had a fixed plan. Graduate and work in a Chinese company. That was it. That narrow focus shaped every single decision and course I took, and every opportunity I pursued or ignored. At that time, I felt sufficient and focused, but in hindsight, it was limiting, because years later now, I want to pivot and explore that career path, and it's extremely hard. I feel stuck on that single track I laid out years ago with few bridges to other fields or industries. If I could go back, I would explore multiple career paths while still in school. Not to spread myself thin, but to give myself options. I would try and do internships in different fields, attend career fairs outside my core area, take elective courses that open other doors, and talk to alumni and professionals in various industries. I would aim to narrow it down to 2 promising tracks before graduating instead of betting everything on just one. Because the more adaptable and multi-skilled you are, the easier it is to pivot, grow, stay relevant in today's job market. If you're in university now, please don't box yourself in too early. Explore widely, even casually. Future you will thank you. So those are the 10 things I would do differently if I could rewind my university years. If you're in school right now, maybe pick 1 or 2 that resonate with you and start experimenting with them. Because trust me, universities isn't just about getting a degree. It's about building habits, relationships, and experiences that will shape your career and life long after graduation. Thank you for listening, and I hope these reflections help you make the most of your time. Thank you. See you next time.